Hey folks, it's Matt Rainwater again, and I am doing some lettering today. And this is for episode 33 of Trailer Park Warlock. So y'all are gonna get to get a little tiny sneak peek at one of these pages. And let me give you a rundown on what's going on here. So I have my document here. Before I did this video, I wrote out all the dialogue that I'm going to put into these 8 pages of Trailer Park Warlock. And I'm going to show y'all how I letter just this first page. And before I even typed out this dialogue when I was writing, so the way that I write my scripts for comics generally is, if I'm doing like a long form comic that has, like let's say it's an 8-page comic, which is generally 6 to 8 pages is how most of my episodes of Trailer Park Warlock break down. When I'm putting it on Webtoon, it breaks down more into panels, so that's usually between 35 and 45 panels. I usually try and hit for 40, but it's always somewhere in the middle. And so today I'm gonna show you. So what I just did is I copied text from my script, and now I need to mess around really quick. I'm just gonna paste it in here because, whoa, what did I even? Ooh, okay, let's start by picking the right font. I like to use Anime Ace for dialogue font. I think it's 12 point that I use, which is actually on the small end for print comics. On Webtoon, it doesn't really matter. You can just about do whatever you want, really. Okay, and then I'm setting up my parameters. And here, let's see how this looks. Does it work? So Anime Ace, something's up. Okay, I'm clicking that off. Try again. How about now? What is going on? Oh, I thought I clicked that off. All right, try again. There we go. Still, I feel like I'm missing something here. Is it this one? That seems too small though. But this also seems too big. Okay, so y'all, what I'm about to do, this is what I usually should, this is just the fastest way to do this. I'm trying to get my font in an appropriate place, how I want it to be, and I can't remember all the parameters I set, so I'm going to go back to another episode. I'm going to load it up. Trying to find one that wouldn't be. How about this one? I'll go to this page. All right, let's wait a second while it loads. So anyway, what I'm trying to demonstrate to y'all is how I get my font set up. I'm going to select this font here. All right. That's everything that I need it. And so what I'm doing is I'm literally just placing my cursor within this text box, and it automatically loads up all of the preset characteristics of that font. And I want to carry that over to the page I was going to work on, and it does carry over. So it's helpful for me. It may not be helpful for everybody in every scenario, but it's very helpful for me. All right, here we go. So getting my text tool, and I'm expanding a little box. I'm going to copy paste into that. Okay, so it's still fairly large. I feel like I'm missing something here. All right, I'm gonna click that because I saw that that was selected. 8 point because I saw that as well. And it just seems smaller than it was on the other page. That's what's messing with my head. All right, so typically when I lay it out, also just read over it, make sure there's no, proofreading type errors. So I'll just read it out. Tonight on Shore to Shore, I'm going to speak to one of the most unusual guests we've had the pleasure of bringing to the airwaves. It's my Don Edison voice, I guess. Trying to do like, I'm gonna have to work on it. I'm trying to do like a George Norrie kind of goofy granddad voice, which I feel like is quintessentially George Norrie, goofy granddad. All right, so I'm looking here, and my next step here is I'm going to be laying out this text, and what I need to figure out, this is going to be as a box. I'm going to use an augmented caption style box, but it's going to have like a little electric looking tail to indicate that it's like a radio. But I'm already noticing that the way it's laid out, the caption box would likely cover up this moon, and I actually want to preserve that. I don't want it to get messed up. I could just move the moon, I guess. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened in this comic. I just haven't, should have thought about that. Oh well. All right, I guess we're gonna do this the hard way. I say this is the hard way because I guess it's not that hard. All right, here we go. I'm gonna select, I don't want to select all the line art, I just want to select that line art. All right, move it, leave a nice moon-sized hole in the sky. And I'm going to fill that in with this color, and hopefully I don't have to adjust too much. Let's see. See, my concern is that there's going to be, you can barely see it, but there is like a slight discoloration. So what I'm going to do, see this, it's just more work. That's what I'm concerned about, just having to do more work. So I'm going to select around here, and I'm going to take a really smooth airbrush and just airbrush that little section to make it all better. Except I got an airbrush right there too. Okay. And doesn't look unusual in any way. Doesn't look too unusual. All right, so that's better. All right, I'm going to place this text, this dialogue right there. So I'm going to place all the dialogue first before I get to doing balloons and caption boxes. The main thrust of this scene is we are seeing Darla and Bev, and they're traveling in a car, and they're listening to the radio while they're traveling. Or mostly Darla is, because as you're going to find out in a second, Bev is asleep. But I want to create just the atmosphere of like listening to the radio while driving. There's not really any other sounds going on around you, just the sound of the road, the sound of the radio. It's a very kind of quiet, contemplative, and you're paying a little bit more attention to the dialogue than you are to what's, to the visuals is what I'm going for here. All right. So he's the leader of a new cult that's been gaining traction across the country. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that all of my dialogue sort of fits within generally a not triangular, what's the word? Diamond shape. Not quite getting to where I want it to be, but this is good enough, especially since it's going to be the caption. It'll be in a caption box, so it's not gonna. Doesn't have to apply to quite the same rules as you would with circular balloons, which I can totally do a video about that on a different day and with a different episode. All right, so let's go to the next panel. Let's lay that out. Select it from the script. Copy, paste. All right, here we go. I want it to fit within this section because that's the least important visual area. There's not a whole lot going on in this area. You just kind of see the back of what is Bev's car. This is going to be annoying. All right. Might have to try something different. Here we go. I'm not, okay, this is just like a me being nitpicky kind of thing. I really like having pauses or breaks in dialogue, like periods or commas, at the end of the tier. You can see what I'm saying. So I'm calling this a tier, the tier above this one. I'm not into doing that where you have the comma in the middle. It's just me. Like, there's no rule about this that I'm aware of. I just think it reads better. It's less confusing to read. I'm probably gonna have to do it like this though. Just because of the way that the space is set up. And this would be, well, okay. Here's the other thing. I would like this dialog box to be skinnier too. So let's see if we can do something about that. Maybe. Let's see. I feel concerned about it. Yeah, like I'd rather like still be on its own line rather than still comma he and start with a new thought. It just doesn't look right to me. Maybe I'm just being weird. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. And as far as lettering goes, it's about as good as I'm going to get out of that sentence. Because this is an important element. I want Jake's collar to be visible. I want Bev to be visible. Those two things are the most important visual elements that need to stand out in this panel. And for me, often an annoyance about just having dialogue in comics in general. It's important. Dialogue in comics is important, of course, but like an annoyance is that if you're an artist, if you're drawing and doing coloring and all this other stuff, something that can be very annoying is how certain visual elements, little details you may have wanted to include in your story get covered up by dialogue, and the dialogue probably has information that's even more important. But still, it can be annoying when it's like, oh, I want people to see maybe that little beer can in the distance, or this, and it gets covered up and then nobody ever knows that it was ever even there. All right, so I'm going to read through this. So here he is joining us now from his compound in Oklahoma is set. Did I read the last one? Okay, I read it. All right. I think that'll work. I just need to figure out where I want to place it. So the tail of the box isn't like weird. Because I don't want the tail to cover up Darla's hand. I want it to go like that. Which is still a little awkward. Not my favorite way of doing that. But I want this to be, you know, left alone. I don't want it to get covered up or interfered with by any part of the dialogue. All right, and it pleases us to be with you tonight, Dawn. I don't know if that's how I'd want Set to sound like, actually. I don't know, like, he's not gonna sound like the Joker. That's silly. I kind of want him to sound like my version of Set. I want him to be deep voice, but not like, I don't know. Not like my voice, I guess. Oh, come on. There we go. Right. And I'm just moving around the text again. Just trying to figure out how I can get this to look. There we go. That looks good. I just had this thought. Are there any? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I want to actually, I'm going to bold Set right there. Yeah, I think I'm also going to bold shore to shore. I want to emphasize those things. I'm also going to bold pleases. I'll leave it at that. All right. I'm going to get the next bit of dialogue. Paste. Ooh, don't want that. Regular. There we go. And on such an auspicious night as well, what with the countless UFO sightings taking place. See, like, okay. I feel like Set's voice would have more of a playful tone to it. And I'm not that great at voice acting, so I'm not messing with it right now. It's not what I'm getting paid for right now. All right, so that looks all right. On such a suspicious night as well, what with the countless UFO sightings taking place. Okay, that's good. Next. Is that it? Oh yeah, we got one more. Our cult has reported at least 230 within the evening. I don't know. I don't want him to be British. That'd be kind of... I don't like it. I don't like Set being British. Don't make him British, please. Alright, and I have one other thing to lay out in regards to text. And I'm going to make a layer for it. Sign. Because oh no. I goofed. Ooh. Ooh, buddy, I goofed. All right. I originally had this bit set up on a separate layer. I'm just going to have to do it the hard way. Like everything else in this video. Dang it. Before what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to delete that layer before I flatten this image to get it ready for lettering, and I did not do that. And now I am paying for it. That's okay. Paying for it in time. All right. Just trying to select all of this area. Let's see how this works. All right, I'm going to select that color. And you know what? I'm going to set it up on a different layer just in case it doesn't work. What's going on here? This is weird. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'll merge that down. I had the green set up on a different layer. All right, do like that. Just gonna do it like that. Just trying to figure it out. It's not perfect at all. Need a second. Okay. More green. How does that look? That looks okay. That looks all right. I probably think nobody would notice or care. Just so long as these reflections don't look weird. That's why I'm staring at the reflections an extra bit of time. Just making sure they don't look, I don't know, out of place. It looks good. So next I need to select a font. I'm going to select color as well. White. Go into my fonts. I need it's going to be a sans serif font. Whatever it's going to be. And it needs to at least have that. And it needs to look a little bit like a roadway sign. And it's going to be in all caps. I'm going to have to really mess around with this one for a second, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Kari. Mexico. That doesn't. Seems like. I mean, I could do it like that. The roadway signs don't often look that way. Just being honest. Excuse me. And I need to make this big. Let's try 36. Well, we just need to change that. What is that? The kerning? Is that called kerning? I don't think that's kerning. There's a different name for it and I don't know it. I'm gonna have to change that font. It's not the font that I want. So let's check out what we got. I had Helvetica. I don't. What's Shruti? Ooh, that looks good. That works better. Make sure it lines up with. This sign is tilted off a little bit. All right. And then I need to have another text box that says next exit. And then that needs to be rotated. I don't know if I want next exit though. I'm just thinking about what it means in regards to storytelling. I think I'm going to put more like 10 miles. I just want to give an indication of where they are. I'm not trying to say that they're exiting off there. I just want to give an indication of their geographic position. Talking about storytelling. All right, and the next thing I'm doing is I'm making these text layers slightly transparent so that they look like they're actually part of a sign. Probably needs to be a little less transparent than that. I'm going to say 77. Yeah, let's do that. That looks good. All right, so next we're going to move on to our caption boxes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer. Just call it balloons. And for these squarish type dialogue balloons, these are a lot easier to do. They require less involvement than, say, a circular balloon, because if I make a circular balloon, I have to get the pen tool involved. I'll show that to y'all in a different video. We're not going to do that tonight. I'm just gonna, right now I am only setting up the boxes first. Let me make sure I did that on the balloons layer. I did? Good. Just checking. All right. Another one down. It's a little too big, and also cuts a little too close to the word embodiment. So I'm gonna try that one again. Nope, that doesn't work. Try again. All right, so I'm gonna cut this off right there. I'm gonna move it down because it's, or move it, maybe I'll move it up. Yeah. I'll move that up, and I'm gonna move this dialogue up just a little bit, because I don't want to create a tangent with the line of the seat in the back. All right, great. Moving on to the next panel, make another box. I'm just gonna stop. All right, cut it off. I'll move it up just a tiny bit. 1, 2. Okay, and now this big old panel. I'm going to trim it a little bit. All right. Yeah, so there are way more panels like this big long one now in Trailer Park Warlock, because I'm making it on Webtoon, and the format of Webtoon is perfectly oriented towards that. So all my big establishing shots, or just bigger shots where you want to show a lot of stuff, are now these big vertical type panels. All right, trim that. Just trim on the top a little bit. Looks good, I think. Yeah, yeah. Trim on the bottom. Not that much. How about like that? All right. Trim on the side a little bit. Okay, next. Hold on. I'm gonna move this dialogue just a smidge like that. Next, I'm gonna grab my polygon lasso tool. I'm gonna be making the tails to these word balloons. And I'm not certain yet whether or not I want to make tails for the outside shots, the shots outside of the car. Yeah, I guess I will. All right. Yeah, just click away like that. It's super handy. That looks good. Click, click, click. Click away. And fill. I have a hotkey set to fill because it's something I do fairly regularly. If I'm coloring or flatting, that doesn't look good. If I'm coloring or if I'm flatting or doing whatever, it's an action I do a lot. So I start setting it to a hotkey. And I haven't gone back. I love those hotkeys. Highly recommended. In Photoshop, if you use Photoshop, I haven't bothered much with hotkeys in Clip Studio, but I'm pretty sure it has hotkeys. I'm gonna have to look into that because I'm sure it will help me a lot in Clip Studio as well. I think that tail needs to be longer than I made it. Just gonna have to accept that and try that again. I'm just gonna reach it a little further down. Yeah, it looks good. I feel like what this kind of tail, this like jagged kind of looking tail illustrates is the somewhat staticky sound of an AM radio station. That's what I'm trying to go for anyway. I don't know if that's communicating it successfully to y'all, but that's what it communicates for me. All right, I'm just gonna have that tail reach all the way back to Bev's car. All right, and now I'm gonna do that. I feel like the transparency on the sign text needs to be lowered again. Sorry, y'all. Just seeing it, and I'm like, yeah, it needs to be a little bit less. Okay. So, final step. What I'm going to do here is going to take my magic wand, make sure that contiguous is turned off. And I'm going to select just one of these balloons. And it's going to select selects all the balloons. And then I'm going to select the color of the line art, that black that is 60, 40, 40, 100. That's for print. It has been commanded to me by post-production people and working in comics that you need to have the line art at that. Next, I'm doing stroke. And I think it needs to be 7 pixels and not 5 pixels. We're going to find out. See how it looks. That honestly looks too thin. I think it needs to be a little thicker. I'm going to try it at 9 pixels instead. That looks better. I'm seeing an issue here. I feel like this dialog box needs to be moved a little further from the edge of the panel. It's about to create a tangent. And I'm also going to have to move the dialog just a smidge. All right. That needs to be adjusted. So I'll be doing this for 7 more pages. Well, really, more like 6 more pages because the last page is currently just one panel and that panel doesn't have any dialogue. So just going to make some last adjustments here. Look over it. Yeah. That looks all right. I think that looks good. Okay. So that's, I'm going to save it. Save my work. All right. Lovely. Well, thank you all for joining me for this little, I don't know, tutorial, whatever it is. Hanging out with me. Thank you for contributing as always. And I hope y'all are having a good day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.